My guest today is Talita Brits, a young South African filmmaker from Pretoria whose short film Ongeluk has just earned her a place on the global shortlist for the Sony Future Filmmakers Awards. She's one of only 34 emerging filmmakers from around the world heading to Sony Pictures Studios in Los Angeles. Talita, congratulations. This is such a huge moment.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here today, and I'm so excited to be speaking to you. And the Sony is a big step for me.
So how did you feel when you heard?
I honestly had to pinch myself a few times. I went to bed, and then the next morning I still felt like I was dreaming. Like it had to take like a few days before the reality set in. But yes, once the reality set in, I was in shock and awe and so excited. This is huge.
So this was a competition from people all over the world.
Yeah, it's an international competition, and what makes it so great is that it's a free entry, and it's available to in my category, to all students. It's such a major opportunity or platform that Sony created for filmmakers like me to get their work out there.
Tell us a bit more about your film Ongeluk. What's the story you wanted to tell?
Ongeluk is a short film about Milani, a normal young woman that's driving home after a normal day. She then contacts her boyfriend saying that she's going to be a bit late, and then realizes that she doesn't have signal. Between all this that's going on, she drops her phone and accidentally takes her eyes off the road. And then she hits a man. And in that moment, shock obviously settles in, and she's left with a bunch of choices that she didn't expect to have to go through that day, and it just happened suddenly. The story of Ongeluk is meant as a little bit of a awakening for people to realize that this could happen to anyone, and nobody plans it. It is in fact an accident. Like, not just accident like a road accident, it happens accidentally. Nobody plans it, nobody prepares for it, and the ethical questions that you need to ask in that moment, like, what would I do if that were to happen to me, was something really prominent that I wanted to leave with the audience. Like, what would you do in that situation? Because it could happen to anyone. It's a one shot. It's a one shot film that has no cuts, so it's very intense, very in your face, and never leaves Milani alone. Like, you follow her through her whole decision making process, her whole thinking process, everything.
So was the one take difficult to pull off, and where did this idea come from?
The one take was extremely difficult to pull off. Once we started filming, there was so many things that arise, like problems that we had to face on set. The one problem was that obviously nobody that's working on the set can be seen on camera, and the camera turns around a lot. Like, you have a 360 view of what's going on with Milani. So while we were filming this, it's actually quite funny. Me and two other people were like running around the car the whole time, trying to not be in frame. It was quite difficult to problem solve that, and to place the blood on the window while the camera is going through the car's window. And it was a lot of planning. But I think what sets it apart is, or the reason that I wanted to do a one take was, I personally don't have a lot of money to make a film. I am a student, so I had to do something else that would make my film better. And to make my film stand out more. So I used my technical skills. That's all I had, you know. So Ongeluk is not a very budget-heavy film, except for the petrol that it costs to keep that car running. But it's not a very budget-heavy film. It is more practical and technical stories, and I think the reason why Ongeluk's message gets across so well is because you never lose your focus between the main actor, Millet, and the camera. It follows her for the whole of the movie. 12 minutes. It follows her for 12 minutes. So yeah.
So you chose to make it in Afrikaans. Do you ever worry that using Afrikaans limits where the film can travel?
I chose Afrikaans because Afrikaans is my mother tongue. It's my home language, and I feel like it's really good for the South African film industry, the Afrikaans industry, to have a film like Ongeluk, a one take, that's very ambitious. But I personally feel that doing it in Afrikaans does not limit it to the audience. There's also English in the film between Milani and the security guard. And there's also Tswana between Milani and the father, which she finds out that she had a father and his daughter. His daughter contacts her father on the phone, and then she speaks Tswana. So, but I don't think there is a language barrier because I used a lot of visual communication. A lot of the story is told visually, through emotion, through action. You do not have to speak Afrikaans or have subtitles to understand what just happened. You do not need to speak it to see what she's thinking, see what she's feeling, and question, like, what is she doing? So yeah, I think Afrikaans is a good language and a good way to tell a story, but ultimately I focused on the visual communication of Ongeluk.
Well, okay, now you're jetting off to Los Angeles for the awards at Sony Pictures. And not only that, some training. So how do you feel about that?
I am so excited and I feel so honored to have this privilege to go overseas, firstly, and the trip is all expenses paid by Sony. I had a bit of trouble with my visa, getting my visa in time, so but I luckily I got it. It got delivered yesterday. It's in my hands now. I'm so excited to go meet new people and see how the industry is, because I think the industry, how I picture it in my head, is a lot different than what it is in reality overseas. So I'm really excited to meet the face behind the filmmaker.
But you're also getting some training afterwards. So what does that involve?
Yes. So I'm not 100% sure about what training we will be getting, but I know that they will be introducing us to new cameras, possibly new camera techniques. I will be meeting directors and producers and learning more about how they make films, and yeah, just a lot of socializing from what I've heard.
So what's next for you after this? Have you completed your course?
I have completed my degree in filmmaking, but I'm currently continuing my studies with honors. I am doing my honors in film and television. I'm actually currently exploring suicide in my honors. I'm seeing how we can portray suicide in an ethical way in films. What sparked my research was the release of 13 Reasons Why and the spike in the suicide rate and mimic suicides after the release of 13 Reasons Why. And I think that's such a serious topic that young people don't want to talk about. And I want to create a platform that brings viewers' attention to mental health and stuff that adolescents are struggling with and dealing with, like anxiety, depression, cyberbullying, and there's a lot of external factors that play a part in our daily lives that people aren't aware that adolescents are struggling with, or adolescents don't know how to communicate how they are feeling or process their emotions and their struggles. So I definitely want to bring awareness to this very sensitive topic and hopefully create a platform for people to reach out.
Well, Talita Brits, looking forward to see how your career goes and what's going to happen in Los Angeles. Good luck with that.
Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate it.